Here is one that is just northwest of Texas, Childress and Hall County, west of the Esteline area. Possible tornado here coming up toward Rolla and the Wellington area of Texas. The circulation now is near and probably just to the north of Esteline in Texas, heading off toward the north and east. Then the storm that is down in Harmon and Jackson counties and southwest parts of Oklahoma. You could see this one. This one is one that was not too far away from Gould. It's heading up toward the Mangum area. I talked about supercell thunderstorms. You can see the hook echo. That's because the rotation within the storm wraps the precipitation down around its southwest side. The tornado likes to form in that hook. It would be near Russell, heading up toward the Scott Field area, the Mangum area. Very well-defined circulation showing up there, just to the north and east of Gould now. I'm going to leave that circle on there and see if there's any debris showing up at this point. There are some specks of blue and green. It's a little ambiguous. That could be some clear air inflow to the storm, but I'm concerned there could be a tornado there north and east of Gould. Here's the newest of the tornado warnings. Back into some of these areas where the storms are rolling along the frontal zone, giving both a flood threat and occasionally a severe threat. Dr. Knapp was talking about the flood threat. Now circulation heading off west of Stillwater near Logan, Noble, Payne counties. And up to around the Perry areas where it's heading toward at this point, Orlando, Perry, Morrison, Masham areas. The velocities a little bit complicated here, but I think probably the strongest of the circulations is this one just on the west side of Perry, Oklahoma. These storms that were more of a line type of storms, no longer tornado warned, but they are severe warned, Barton, Cedar, and Dade counties in southwest Missouri. We do have a lot of severe thunderstorms down in the areas not too far away from the Lubbock region, some with big hail, some with damaging winds, some also with some of these appendages. So we'll be looking out for some of these storms yet to become tornadic. And you say, what is this? Well, that is where some of the rain-cooled air has pushed the dry line back farther to the west. So that it means that Lubbock could potentially get another round of severe storms firing on that. And we do have these particularly dangerous situation tornado watches for parts of Texas and Oklahoma. So I hope everyone really heeds all of the advice we've been giving, Alex.
Absolutely, Dr. Forbes. Thanks. I know you're going to be watching those boundaries very closely as they can become interesting focal points later on. Dr. Forbes mentioning that PDS tornado watch in effect for Oklahoma City. Only the second time the Storm Prediction Center has issued a PDS tornado watch where the probability of hail, the probability of wind, and the probability of tornadoes all over 95%. So a very high likelihood across these areas, Tevin, that we see severe weather. Last time this was issued was on a day, April 27, 2011, that we had obviously a huge outbreak take place. I think this is helping really, though, to get people to heed the warnings.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, Alex. When you can compare a situation like that to perhaps something in the past, that may refresh people's memory. That was the Alabama, the Tuscaloosa, and Birmingham outbreak back in 2011. But today, we have another outbreak on our hands, or potentially another outbreak on our hands. And we can only hope that a lot of these tornadoes go through portions of the plains where the populations are practically non-existent. And we want to see them at a distance and not come through a town, say, like Sayre, Oklahoma. And here in Sayre, the town actually about 5 miles that way beyond that fence line, you got about 15,000 people. And so what's interesting, if you've never been through Oklahoma, it's not just rural area or farmland or plains. It's more than that. You do get to towns here where you have a couple of thousand people here or there, and then outside of Oklahoma City, and then you have Sayre with about 15,000 people here. Elk City isn't too far away either. And so what we want to show you right now, you're looking at some of the overcast skies here. We had a roll cloud that came through earlier on the backside of a downdraft from a tornado warning storm to our north by about 20 to 25 miles. But now, one thing that you can't quite feel, and I will try to convey to you, is the temperature difference. We started the day at 75 degrees, and believe it or not, we dropped close to 20 degrees in less than an hour's time. We all felt a giant wind shift, if you will. Instead of the south, the winds came from the north, and I looked at the producer. We all looked at each other, the camera operator, the audio operator, our security guard, and we're all wondering, what in the world just went on? It felt like we walked into a freezer. That is how cold it got. That's how cold it is right now. And so now some of the rainfall coming in actually makes it a bit colder. So perhaps dropping a little bit closer to the lower 50s instead of the middle 50s, what we're seeing right now. But down on the ground, of course, we did have that tornado warning storm that came through. That rotation lifted up, but the rain was still coming down. And look at what happened in about, say, 15 to 20 minutes. Granted, it's a parking lot, no, not really seeing any drainage out here, but that water starts to accumulate. And another threat that we have for the day today, Mike, is going to be that flood warning. So we can't just focus, for some of you out there, you can't just focus on the tornado threat. You also have the flood threat. And some people, Mike, have both.
Yeah, they go hand in hand, no question about that, Tevin. You know, when you think about the temperatures today that have been in the mid-70s, dew points that have been in the low 70s, so a lot of humidity in the air, a lot of juiciness to this atmosphere. What that tells you is you're going to get some extreme rainfall rates. So that is the other big concern that comes with the evening today. And I want to actually read you a tweet from the National Weather Service in Norman, which serves Oklahoma City, where we are right now. This is what they said literally just seconds ago. The environment across southwest Oklahoma and into central Oklahoma remains extremely favorable for supercells and tornadoes this afternoon. Those conditions will remain in place this evening. So again, don't be lulled until full sense of security that it hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen. Things are going to just pass us by. This atmosphere is ready to explode right now. And when it does, you may literally have just minutes, or maybe in some instances seconds, before a tornado is on your neighborhood and you need to take immediate action to save you and your family. So be thinking about it right now, what you're going to do if that moment arises. The other thing about it is, and Tevin was alluding to it, the flood threat. With rainfall rates in some of these storms that are now 2 to 3 inches an hour, it will not take much for some flooding to occur, and flash flooding can take out a roadway just like that. And so be extremely cautious of driving for the remainder of the evening. You can get to your destination, a safe place to take shelter. Do that now before some of the storms really get into a place like Oklahoma City, where we think flooding could be very likely for the remainder of the night tonight. You don't want to be driving, because most fatalities that happen in flooding happen in vehicles. Don't, as Dr. Forbes has said it before, don't drive to your death. That's on you then. And you don't want to have that moment of panic where you're like, oh no, I made the wrong decision here. Certainly don't drive around barricades, turn around, don't drown. Find another way to get to your destination safely, or if you can, just be there now and wait this thing out, okay? Obviously a lot to comprehend for the remainder of the day here in Kansas, in Oklahoma, Missouri now, down into Texas. All these places end up being targets for the rest of the night tonight. And overnight tonight, make sure you have a way of being alerted to warnings after you go to bed tonight. Warnings on your phone or weather radio, great options for you. You take a look, by the way, over Bricktown here in Oklahoma City. Usually a pretty happening place around dinner time where people will come down and have a drink, have some food, have a good time, right? It's almost a ghost town for us this evening, and not a lot of folks on the roads. I can get a clear view here of 235 and I-40. Very few cars on the roads for rush hour, Alex Wilson, which is great to hear, great to see. That means everyone's taking this very, very seriously, and we were looking at the stats. Since its inception 10 years ago, we've only had 7 days where we've issued a torque count of 9 or higher, and today is one of those days. For obvious reasons, we encourage everyone to pay very close attention to the weather in their local area.
Right. You know, you mentioned that there's people not out on the roads. People aren't out, out for dinner. We had schools closed. Do you think that the combination of this falling on an important anniversary around the Oklahoma City area, do you think that really helped to maybe give people a reminder of what could happen and why they need to take this so seriously?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think when you go back to the EF5 tornado that hit Moore, Oklahoma on this day back in 2013, and we saw it take out schools. Children died, neighborhoods demolished, and a city that gets, it seems, hit over and over and over again. People become very anxious on days like today, and when you're anxious sometimes, that can be a good thing, because it heightens your senses, right, Alex? It makes you extra aware and makes you extra cautious, which I think on a day like today, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, 100%. And I would assume you've talked to some people. I know when they see you and Jim in town, also heightens that awareness. But hopefully between now and then, Mike, they've all, done what they needed to do to really reinforce their safe spot, make it even safer. Mike, we're going to check back in with you. I want to get you to what's happening out there across the area and what we think will happen in the coming hours. I'm going to switch over my max to 55 so we can see tomorrow's forecast, because we don't think tomorrow is any slouch by any means in terms of severe weather. We think we could be looking at another very active day on Tuesday. Likelihood for severe storms across parts of Missouri, northern Arkansas, and into western sections of the state of Illinois. Here is the setup. Our cold front will provide the lift, that Gulf of Mexico moisture once again in play, and our mid-level jet will help to enhance the supercell potential. Supercell thunderstorms are the ones that are capable of producing those stronger tornadoes and big hail. Stay with us.
large and potentially very dangerous tornado has been spotted southwest of Mangum in southwest Oklahoma, heading right toward that community. That's this particular storm right here. We have one other tornado warned storm in northern parts of Oklahoma, and severe thunderstorms from Midland, Texas, all the way to near Springfield, Missouri. Let's focus on that Mangum tornado. You can see, I think, the well-defined hook echo. This is a supercell, a classic example of that. There's the body of the storm where the rain and hail fall out. The trailing portion is where the hook echo, the rain and precipitation, gets wrapped around in a hook about the rotating portion of the updraft of the storm, and that is very close to Mangum right now, with a potential tornado sitting right in there, heading towards Scott Field, the Mangum, the Granite, and then heading off toward the Lake Creek area. The circulation very, very strong, and this one as strong as we've seen today, with the yellows going northbound, the greens and blues going southbound. So there is the tornado vortex signature within a couple of miles west of Mangum, heading toward Highway 9 and probably pretty close to the Highway 9 283 juncture then, just on the north side of Mangum. So the community of Mangum in peril here. Let's see if there's debris showing up with this. There certainly is. I showed you the velocity signature. The lavender is precipitation following with the same orientation. The blues and greens here are a measure that when we see tumbling motion of the targets within the radar beam, they show up like that. So all indications, as well as spotters, indicating that we have a tornado, and this suggests that it's producing damage coming into the areas of in and near Mangum, Oklahoma. This storm farther off to the north and east in Childress and Hall County in Texas has no longer tornado warned. You can see what has happened there. It has turned into an outflow boundary. The green flow here, strong gusty winds. There could be some wind damage, straight line wind damage heading toward Wellington in Texas there. Up north of Stillwater in northern Oklahoma. This one also a bit of a line now, Noble County, with a bunch of little kinks on the leading edge of the line. I'll update the position of where the tornado threat would be here as it heads off toward the northeast. It's very close to Perry at this point. Sumner, Morrison, Pawnee, and Skidee, I presume that would be just north of the Sweetwater area. Kind of a complicated picture here. Sometimes we're getting ambiguities because of hail deflections, but probably anywhere near Perry or near the Orlando area of Oklahoma is where the threat would be. A severe thunderstorm rolling right across Joplin, Missouri, with damaging winds and hail, as well as off toward the north of that. And this line will be coming towards Springfield, Missouri a bit later on. And severe thunderstorms with large hail continuing in areas east and south of the Lubbock area, and they've pushed an outflow boundary and pushed the dry line back to the west. So it's back to being moist enough for severe storms. Here's our future radar showing that in general, this whole area of severe thunderstorms going to push east with embedded circulations in a line, occasionally supercells ahead of the line. There's midnight, a bow echo blasting across Missouri. So it's only a very slow motion until around tomorrow morning, when these storms really begin to accelerate eastward. So a flood threat, as well as some strong, long-lived tornadoes and large hail. Dangerous night, folks. Heed those warnings. Alex?
And then, Dr. Forbes, we have to talk about tomorrow, because tomorrow looks to be an active, severe day as well. Maybe not as active as today. Obviously, today an anomaly, but still a good chance that we see strong or severe thunderstorms across parts of the Midwest and Plains, as well as the Mid-South. The areas where we think we have the highest likelihood of severe weather would be across parts of Arkansas, northern Arkansas, much of Missouri, and into western sections of Illinois. That's where the likelihood is the highest for storms. Our potent cold front will be our source of lift, our moisture, all thanks to the Gulf of Mexico. So we continue with that south-southeasterly flow at the surface that will transport plenty of moisture into the area. Mid-level jet will enhance the supercell potential, and we've got all threats again on the table. Tornadoes out of those supercell thunderstorms, as well as the possibility that we get some strong gusty winds and some large hail. Let's start things off at 8 a.m. when Dr. Forbes kind of left us off there. We see the rain that he was mentioning, the thunderstorms still into parts of eastern Kansas and parts of Oklahoma. Those showers and thunderstorms continue to move eastward as we go through the afternoon. You can see a very distinct line of thunderstorms setting up there across the region. As we get into 4 o'clock, some storms possible around a place like Springfield. So again, a lot of Missouri needs to be on alert. And then those storms race into St. Louis, portions of Illinois as we get into the mid and late evening. All right, I want to take you live right now as we head out into parts of Oklahoma. This is Mangum, Oklahoma, and we are looking at that area probably right down the middle, just to the left or just to the right of the screen. The right would be where we've got the rain and the hail, and you can see that extends all the way down toward the ground. You can see some lowering there, kind of right down the middle, right at that interface that Dr. Forbes oftentimes mentions. And Mangum, you think we are looking at it right on the left-hand side,
Just
or
to
I'm
the
sorry, the
right of that
right-hand side?
sign, there, I think, is a tornado that is probably.
Oh yeah, right as you.
Before you get to that, what is it, a pole or something like that? Is pretty far from the monitor. Is pretty far from me, but you
can see a little bit of daylight in between that pole and the tree, and then on the other side.
Yeah, it's actually some raindrops. So in between the sign and those raindrops to the right of that, I'm sure that there's a tornado in progress there. With this, and we've had reports of a tornado that is in progress near Mangum, Oklahoma.
Here's another look. We've got plenty of storm trackers out there on the ground. This kind of shows you the murky look, though, as he looked towards the storm. Obviously now using other roads. We continue to follow the situation out of Mangum, Oklahoma, where we have a report of a large and extremely dangerous tornado that is currently on the ground. We have trackers out there around Mangum, Oklahoma, that are trying to get us a view of this storm. Obviously, today is a precarious day for the chasers because we want them to stay in the most safe spot, obviously, even if it comes in lieu of giving us a great view. It's a tough day out there to chase. The threat of tornadoes is exceptionally high. In fact, we have a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch in effect in this area, and it looks like that one is translating around the Mangum area as there are reports of a confirmed tornado, large and extremely dangerous. Dr. Forbes, while they get into position, let's look at this on the radar and see what we're working with.
Yeah, and we've had a report about 5 minutes ago of a tornado on the west side of Mangum, so there is a tornado in progress in this area. That is the storm in southwest Oklahoma. We've had also a report of a tornado near Perry, Oklahoma, and damage. We're working to confirm the damage aspect. And near Joplin, Missouri, a Doppler indicated tornado. Let's start with the Mangum, Oklahoma tornado. Well-defined supercell thunderstorm, the classic hook coming down the southwest portion, and that is where the tornado would be, the hook being wrapped around the rotating inflow and updraft of this storm. So it is passing now just to the north and east of Mangum. Tornado warning for Greer County in Oklahoma. The hook there, let me adjust it just a little bit, moving north and east. It is just past the Scott Field area, very close to Granite, Oklahoma, heading up then toward the Lake Creek area as it goes away from Mangum, Oklahoma. Again, tornado in progress. Here is the tornado vortex signature and a chance that this storm is cycling because I see two spots at least here of tornado vortex signatures. So this could be the original one. Rain cooled air wraps around that. A new tornado often forms then to the flanks. And so a couple of possible tornadoes there. I'm going to leave that on and then see if I can find the debris signature and see if we're seeing evidence of debris signature. We've lost a debris signature for what I'm calling the original, and this one is got a lot of clear air in it, so I can't confirm that there's debris in that second potential tornado, but there may be a couple of tornadoes there near and northeast of Mangum. This storm is near Perry in Noble County, Oklahoma, with a tornado warning and a tornado sighted probably at this point pretty close to Otoe, heading toward places like Morrison and the Rambo, the Pawnee, and the Blackburn area. I think this is, well, there's a couple of circulations here also that look like they could be tornadoes, one near Red Rock and the other south of Red Rock. That one would come closer to the Pawnee area. This is a bit far from the radar. I don't know if we're going to, I don't see any true signs of debris showing up, but we have had reports of damage from that. Then into southwest Missouri. Here is Joplin, Missouri, Jasper and Newton counties. Doppler indicated possible tornado. I think you can see running right up here is a hook echo, and following where that hook would be, it would be have just passed Duquesne, heading toward the Knights area, the Reeds and La Russell areas of southwest Missouri with a possible tornado. This one, not as strong a velocity signature as the other, but it seems as if it would be probably in this area between Saginaw and Fidelity of areas that would be off to the east of Joplin, Missouri. Severe thunderstorms with big hail and damaging winds. We've had, in fact, in Oklahoma, Logan County, we've had a measured 94-mile-per-hour gust at one of the Oklahoma Mesonet observing sites. So and we've had some 75-mile-per-hour gusts occasionally in the Texas Panhandle. These storms are going to continue to roll, sometimes with embedded tornadoes in these lines as the line ever so slowly moves through. By 3 a.m., probably the threat will be over in Oklahoma City, but a long evening and night yet to go for tornadoes and damaging winds and hail. Alex?
Thank you so much. And now that we are getting ground truth to that high concern for severe weather, we continue to watch Oklahoma City. Mike Bettis is there right now. And Mike, you said just because these haven't come during the early or late afternoon doesn't mean they're not coming. And when you look at the radar and you see what's happening in a place like Mangum, you know what's headed our way.
Should be a serious cause for concern for people that live in central Oklahoma in and around the Oklahoma City metro area. It's coming this way. Just give it some time. It's coming this way. No reason to think that what's happening in northern Oklahoma, what's happening in western Oklahoma won't happen here. But this may spread out across numerous states for the remainder of the evening and even overnight tonight when things become incredibly dangerous, when you're asleep potentially and tornadoes come bearing down on your neighborhood. So we really urge you to have the alerts turned on your phone. Make make sure that you have a backup, maybe like a weather radio. Hopefully you have one of those. Make sure it's charged up or it's got the batteries in it, and it's going to alarm when a warning is issued for your county. Not to mention nighttime threat of flash flooding. Rainfall rates could be 2 to 3 inches per hour. Some places could see more than a foot of rain. Again, numerous threats on the table for us tonight. Again, more continuing coverage for you here on the Weather Channel as we come to you live from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Dangerous storms continue to roll across parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and even southwest Missouri. We have tornado warning near Joplin here that is hiding under that banner. Northern Oklahoma, west of Tulsa, southwest Oklahoma. We've had tornadoes sighted on these two storms, and brand new tornado warning that's in area not far from Midland, Texas, down in southwest parts of Texas. This is a storm that had a tornado sighted with it in in Mangum, Oklahoma. It has come up into Greer and Kiowa counties now. You can see the hook echo. It seems like maybe the rain-cooled air is gusting forward a little bit, so this storm may be cycling a little bit with a chance of a tornado still along that gust front, but not as well-defined a circulation as there had been. Could be a new tornado forming around the Granite area. North central parts of Oklahoma, Osage and Pawnee County now being warned for a possible tornado. Places will include Glencoe, Pawnee, the community, Jennings and Hominy. That circulation probably strongest right to there east of Red Rock, may head toward the Fairfax area. Then southwest Missouri, east of Joplin, Jasper and Newton counties with a tornado warning. That circulation heading toward Knights, Avila and Red Oak areas, and in areas south of Midland, Texas. Brand new tornado warning here for Ector and Midland counties. That would be places that are off to the south and east of the Odessa area. I think it relatively rural areas in this location. Let me see if I find any communities that will show up. Yeah, the Midland SkyWest Airport, and let's see if we have how strong the velocity signature is showing up on this one. There is right there a velocity signature that shows up. I'm trying to do this right as we speak. There's the tornado, folks, south and east of Odessa. You see that tight little green and red couplet. So, Alex, still going to continue to be a dangerous afternoon, evening, overnight period with tornadoes in many places.
Yeah, this doesn't shut off when the sun sets. We continue to watch the late evening and overnight hours. And we also are watching for the threat of flash flooding. This is something that's going to be coincident with the areas that see the severe weather, high risk of severe storms and flash flooding for communities like Oklahoma City. So almost a double whammy of threats headed your way. And we want you to be so cognizant of that threat, that danger, as we move into the late evening and overnight hours. And Dr. Knapp's going to be up in just a moment to talk more about the flash flood threat. But I also want to highlight our severe weather risk tomorrow, because we keep a higher chance that we could see some strong or severe thunderstorms even into our Tuesday. Highest likelihood in northern Arkansas through the state of Missouri and into western sections of Illinois. That would include the St. Louis metro area right there along the Mississippi River. Potent cold front, that's going to be our source of lift. So again, we have that air rising, our Gulf moisture streaming north. So those southeasterly surface winds are going to transport that moisture. So there already you've got lift and moisture, two of the factors you look into for severe storm forecasting. Our mid-level jet is going to enhance the supercell potential. And the supercell thunderstorms, those are those individual discrete storms that are able to produce those larger, more powerful tornadoes. Also the huge hail, those supercell thunderstorms develop those incredible updrafts that are able to support the large hail development. And obviously the threat for damaging winds will be very much on the table, as we do think we'll also begin to see those storms line out during the day tomorrow. Here is your Tuesday forecast starting at 8 a.m. Of course, we're watching parts of eastern Kansas into the state of Oklahoma, southwestern Missouri, and that's why, again, that flash flood threat is so high, because through today and tonight, they'll be seeing rain. Now, by Tuesday afternoon, you can see that line set up from, say, areas around Springfield down into northeast Texas, and these could be accompanied by a strong push of wind, so be prepared for that, as well as the possibility that we do get some individual storms that could bring us the tornado threat, the damaging wind threat, the hail threat, really all things on the table once again. And we'll be watching for heavy rain too in some of these communities that have been so saturated over the past few weeks and months. So obviously don't want to discount the flash flooding threat tomorrow either. Tomorrow, Torcon values not as high as today, not nearly as high as today, but still a Torcon of 4 is significant, and that's a medium chance of a tornado within 50 miles of a location in central or southern Missouri. So a place like Springfield, northern Arkansas as well. We look at a 4 out of 10 on your Torcon, 40% chance of a tornado. Down into western Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, northeast Texas, 3 out of 10 on the Torcon, 30% chance of a tornado within 50 miles of these locations. So, Dr. Forbes, obviously all eyes on today, and rightfully so, but tomorrow we think we'll still be watching for some significant severe chances.
Yeah, indeed. The upper air forcing really comes blasting in more tomorrow than it has today. We had a brand new confirmation of a tornado with that storm that previously was hitting Mangum area. Now a Granite is being hit. So Greer and Kiowa counties in southwest Oklahoma is the tornado threat. Tornado being reported about 4 miles north of Granite. It's going to be heading toward the Cambridge, the Sentinel area.
In Mangum, Oklahoma. A new video coming into us here at the Weather Channel. This from a little while earlier where we had a confirmed tornado. And you can, if you look to the right of the sign, there's an area along the trees where you can see the clouds reach down, almost giving you that that tornado outline. And that is a look at the confirmed tornado. This was a large and dangerous tornado that was confirmed a little earlier around the Mangum area, and we still have warnings across parts of western Oklahoma. Here you can see some flashes of lightning. Obviously, that hail and rain core just to the right of that area with the tornado. But Dr. Forbes goes to show you, we originally looked at this video. It was hard to make it out where exactly that tornado was. So it just goes to show you these may not be the most easily identified today.
Yeah, and we have a video now of the storm in motion, and you can see here off to the right of the sign, I'm telestrating on that, there is the tornado with the funnel coming down. Now, we can't see all the way to the ground, but something that's that well defined, pretty clearly a tornado. And we had other spotters that didn't have intervening tree line that were seeing a tornado with this. So definitely we've had quite a few tornadoes that have been spotted, including a couple right now that are in progress, Alex.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those warnings, because I know there are a few areas you're concerned about, including where Tevin Wooten is over into southwest Oklahoma.
Yeah, we continue to have a tornado that has been spotted now northeast of Mangum in Oklahoma, one that has been spotted down south and east of Midland, Oklahoma, Midland, Texas, and additional tornadoes in northern Oklahoma and southwest parts of Missouri. So let's start with this. 602 with a potential of a tornado. Again, there have been tornadoes sighted with this, and here is the velocity showing up. There is but again, it's a storm that seems to be cycling, and so the possibility of more than one tornado is not out of the question with this particular storm. The one that we've had the circulation confirmed on is this rotation right there heading up towards Sentinel. Let me take a quick look at this one and see if we have any debris showing up. Not at the moment. We're not seeing debris. This is all appears to be uniform precipitation. Brand new tornado warning coming out of Texas into Oklahoma, back into Beckham, Greer, and Harmon counties. With a tornado there, you see the appendage coming back up towards Sayre, where our Tevin Wooten has been. We'll be talking back with him shortly. And then very well-defined circulation there just crossed east of Highway 30, heading back up to the area between Eric and Willow. Then a storm in northern Oklahoma, Osage, Pawnee counties, with the possibility of a tornado heading over toward the Hominy area, for example, among others. Seems to be mostly a shear along a line, but at times we've had reports of tornadoes with this. A tornado warning south and east of Joplin, Jasper, and Newton counties. That one would be heading up toward the Red Oak, the Round Grove area. And we've had a report of a tornado with this storm south of Midland. Midland County, you're under a tornado warning, heading toward, in general, near the Midland SkyWest airport area. So, Alex, an active evening, and it's going to continue that way, unfortunately, across several states into the evening and overnight hours.
Yeah, north of the area where we're watching for the greatest risk of tornadoes, we still have a very good chance of flash flooding. Justin Michaels has been in Wichita, Kansas today, monitoring that scene. And Justin, it's been raining just about every time we look at you, and reports of high water beginning to funnel in across parts of northern Oklahoma and into Kansas.
Well, yeah, it's also very cold here, but yes, the big threat here tonight, I would say chief among the threats here tonight, is that flash flooding risk. We're in a flash flood warning right now, not a watch anymore, but a warning. There are also severe thunderstorm warnings to the south of us and even a tornado warning to the south of us. But the good news is, because of how cold it is here, it's only about 50 degrees, and it's going to stay in the 50s for basically all night long until tomorrow, when it's going to jump into the 70s. We likely will not have to deal with a tornado threat here. That's a very good piece of news for people who live in Wichita and Kansas. However, to the south of us, you heard Dr. Forbes talking there. I mean, the numbers keep rattling up. But another threat here, in addition to flash flooding, is also damage damaging hail and damaging wind. It has been windy all day long. It has been raining since late morning. In fact, there's the wind right now. The rain is still falling. We've also had intense bouts of lightning and thunder throughout the course of this day. So when you're going throughout this night, remember, you can often not tell if a roadway is flooded out or not. What looks like a very small layer of water on a road could be feet. So the best thing you can do is turn around, don't drown. Make sure you're not driving around barricades. We are already...
Strong winds right now, about 35 miles an hour, gusting out of the south. But you take a look at the skies behind us here, and they have been threatening all day long. Maybe a couple of more hours before a city like Oklahoma City is hit. But with that tornado watch in place, what you need to know is severe weather incredibly likely. That watch goes until 10 o'clock tonight. Be ready to take shelter as soon as a warning is issued. We've had numerous warnings throughout the day today in northern
comes through Oklahoma because a lot of them will be capable and will produce some tornadoes. We know this one is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles an hour. And here we go. Pushing through. We have been dry for about the past 25 to 30 minutes, and now the rain's coming down. Let this be another lesson to you. This will be another added threat we have today. As the rain pushes in, we have to be concerned about flooding. Anywhere we get a thunderstorm with high rainfall rates, we're talking 1, 2, perhaps 3 inches per hour. When you get that rainfall coming through in a short amount of time, then you're talking about not just some localized flooding and not just some flooding on some of the roadways. Now you're talking about some widespread flooding because we have a lot of rainfall to get through. The atmosphere is very excited. It's very convective. We do have lightning that lets you know that that is a convective thunderstorm pushing through. I'm going to double check the radar one more time just to make sure we are safe. We are safe right now. We're broadcasting from a safe location. In fact, our safe room is about 5 tornado warning be issued for you. Let's take